Okay, here we go, everybody. We are going to work on the Pythagorean Theorem in this video. So, to make yourself familiar with the Pythagorean Theorem, it's a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared, where c is always going to be your hypotenuse. That is always the longest side of a right triangle, and it is always the side that is opposite of the 90-degree angle, okay? A and B are interchangeable. They're both legs, so it doesn't matter which order you do those, as long as your hypotenuse is always by itself. So, here's some examples. If it helps until you're good, you can write a C wherever the hypotenuse is, and then all you have to do is start plugging and chugging. It's just working with the formula. So this would be 6 squared plus 8 squared is equal to x squared. 6 squared plus 8 squared is 100 is equal to x squared. So take the square root of both sides and you get x is equal to 10. That's it. That's all you have to do for these guys. So here's your C. So this would be x squared plus 12 squared is equal to 13 squared. You have to get x squared by itself, so we're going to subtract 12 squared from both sides. So x squared is equal to 13 squared minus 12 squared is going to give you 25. Square root both sides. X is equal to 5. And that's it. That's what the Pythagorean theorem is. So every once in a while, you're going to have to work with a radical, though, which is no big deal. This is just going to be our C. So 3 squared plus 6 squared is equal to x squared. Okay, so now you got the fun part. You got 3 squared plus 6 squared. So if you type that in your calculator, or 9 plus 36, you're going to get 45 is equal to x squared. And we know that's not an easy number to just take the square root of, because we would have decimals. So because we need exact answers, you are going to still square root both sides. But your final answer is going to be x is equal to 3 square root of 5, because you will have to break this up to 5 and 9 and 3 and 3, so you just end up with 3 root 5. All right? So that's what you have to do when you do not have a perfect square in the end. So you get to try the next one. You should have x squared plus 3 squared is equal to 6 squared. Okay, and that's going to give you x squared is equal to, so this is 36, and then you're going to subtract 9, so you have 27. Square root both sides, which means you have to go break down the factor tree, and you're going to get 3 and 9 and 3 and 3, so you get 3 root 3. So x is equal to 3 root 3. Okay, so that's it for that row. That's just straightforward and simple Pythagorean theorem stuff. The next row steps it up in difficulty a little bit. This first one, it is a Pythagorean theorem, but we're solving for x. So algebraically, this is going to take quite a bit of work. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your sides, x plus 3 squared plus x plus 10 squared is equal to your hypotenuse, x plus 11 squared. You can see it's already going to be an algebraic challenge. Better yet, x plus 3 squared is x squared plus 6x plus 9. X plus 10 squared is x squared plus 20x plus 100. And that's equal to x squared plus 22x plus 121. Wow. And now, you still have to put this all together. So this is going to be 2x squared plus 26x plus 109 is equal to x squared plus 22x plus 121. And we need to make a little bit more room here. So now that we have the room, we just need to subtract our x squared to the left, leaving us with x squared. Subtract our 22x to the left. That'll give us 4x. Subtract 121 from 109, and that's going to give us a negative 12. We're equal to 0. That'll give us x plus 6 and x minus 2. So x is going to be equal to a negative 6 and a positive 2. Now, the negative 6 works in 2 of the sides, but it does not work in the x plus 3 side, so negative 6 cannot be your answer. 2 works in all of them, So that's it. X is equal to 2. In the middle one, it's a square, but the nice thing about squares is we know that all of these sides are the same. So to find x, the diagonal, it would just be 6 squared plus 6 squared is equal to x squared. 6 squared is 36 plus 36 is 72 is equal to x squared. Square root both sides. X is equal to the square root of 72, which is 6 root 2. So there you go. Last example. I'm going to let you pause this one and give it a try. I would like you to find x, but pay attention to where x is. It's not that difficult. Just think about it a little bit. Give it a try. So if you just made the x right there instead, you would have x squared plus 8 squared is equal to 10 squared. So x squared is equal to 10 squared minus 8 squared is going to give you 36. So x is equal to 6 after you take the square root of both sides. So this x is 6, but since this is an isosceles triangle with an altitude coming from a vertex, we know this is also 6. So x is technically 12 for the entire picture. All right, moving right along. How do we know if these three sides make a right triangle? Well, there's two ways to do it. The way that most books will tell you what to do is you just have to do a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared, and you have to see if it's true. If it's true, it's yes. If it's false, it's no. But I have a different way of doing it, and in another video you'll understand why. It's how you determine if a triangle is a right triangle, acute triangle, or an obtuse triangle. That's a little bit different. So I'm going to show you my way. If you do a squared plus b squared minus c squared, if it's equal to 0, it is a right triangle. If it's equal to a positive number, then that would be acute. And if it's equal to a negative number, that would be obtuse. So it's a little bit of a different way, and it'll work for both. So instead of using the way most books will tell you to do this one, that's how I do it instead. Just remember to always make sure that C is your biggest number. Okay? Unless it's isosceles and you have two of the same, well then make sure you pick one of those guys. So this guy right here would be 3 squared plus 4 squared minus 5 squared. That's 9 plus 16 minus 25. That's equal to 0. So yes, this is a right triangle. Okay? So why don't you pause the video and try to do the next two. So the second one is not a right triangle. It's actually an obtuse triangle, because if you do a squared plus b squared minus c squared, you end up with a negative 27. Since it's a negative number, it's an obtuse triangle. This one, 3 squared is 9, 3 root 3 squared is 27, and 6 squared is 36. So 9 plus 27 minus 36 is going to give us 0 again. So yes, that is a right triangle. There are 3 problems left. These are challenge questions. So I'm going to tell you to, again, give these a try, bring them to class. We'll see if you got them right. This is Longo, and I'm out. See you, bye.